Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we have something special for you. We're diving into the world of one of the most revolutionary art movements in history, Impressionism. I'm Angie.
And I'm Michael. Whether you're a seasoned art lover or just starting to explore the world of painting, you're in for a treat. Today, we'll explore the conditions that led to the birth of Impressionism, the key artists, their groundbreaking works, and how they forever changed the way we see art.
Let's set the scene. It's the late 19th century and the world is undergoing rapid transformation. Paris, in particular, is a hub of change. There's industrialization, new technologies, and urbanization on a massive scale. The city is growing, the streets are becoming more crowded, and the society itself is in flux.
Exactly. And with all of this change, the traditional ways of thinking about art were starting to feel outdated. Before Impressionism, the official French Academy set the rules for what was considered good art. Highly detailed, realistic, and often focused on historical or mythological themes. Think of the grand, idealized works of artists like Jacques-Louis David or Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres.
But by the 1960s, there was a new wave of artists who weren't content with these academic standards. They wanted to capture the world as it truly was, not an idealized version. And this was when Impressionism emerged, a movement that sought to convey the feeling of movement focusing on light, color, and everyday life.
And that's where things get interesting. The term Impressionism actually comes from a painting by Claude Monet titled Impression, Sunrise, painting in 1872. A critic, not exactly a fan of the piece, used the term impression in a mocking way, calling the artwork unfinished. But instead of rejecting the label, Monet and his fellow artists embraced it, turning it into a badge of honor.
It was a bold move, and it set the tone for the whole movement. These artists were less concerned with creating exact replicas of the world around them and more interested in capturing how they felt about the world at a particular moment. That's why you see a lot of paintings that look unfinished or blurry. They were focused on the impression on the scene rather than every tiny detail.
Take Monet's impression, Sunrise for example. If you look closely, you can see that the brush strokes are very loose. The details are blurred. Instead of focusing on the fine details of the harbor, Monet captures the light at sunrise. How the water reflects, the early morning glow, how the sky blends with the sea. It's the light, the atmosphere, the fleeting moments that matters.
Absolutely. And Monet wasn't the only artist pushing boundaries. Let's talk about some other key figures in the movement. One of the most famous was Pierre-Auguste Renoir. His works often celebrated social life. People gathered in cafes, at parks, or at riversides. Take his luncheon of the boating party. It's a joyful, vibrant portrayal of friends relaxing on a terrace by the river with lively colors and loose brushwork.
Renoir had this incredible ability to capture warmth and light. His brush strokes are energetic and his color palette is vibrant, especially when depicting people. He was less interested in portraying exact likenesses and more interested in showing the movement, the mood of the moment.
And then there's Edgar Degas. While many of the Impressionists focus on outdoor scenes and landscapes, Degas was more drawn into the human figure, especially dancers in motion. One of his most famous works is Ballet Rehearsal, where you see a group of dancers practicing in a studio.
What's fascinating about Degas is how he captured movement. He didn't just focus on static poses, he sought to show the fleeting moments in time. His interest in a visual perspective also set him apart. If you look at the absinthe drinker, for example, you can see how he used an unconventional viewpoint, looking from above or from the side to create a sense of intimacy and immediacy.
Absolutely. And another important figure in this movement is Camille Pissarro, who painted both rural and urban scenes. He was particularly interested in the changing landscapes of Paris and the countryside. His painting Boulevard Montmartre on a winter morning is a perfect example. You can almost feel the chill in the air as you see the street scene, busy with horse-drawn carriages and pedestrians captured through soft brushstrokes.
What's so interesting about Pissarro is how he shows movement in the city. Rather than focus on individuals, he captures the dynamic energy of the entire street. It's not just a static scene, it's alive. And that's something that characteristics of Impressionism as a whole. It's all about energy, light, and life.
And let's not forget that Impressionism wasn't just about the subject matter, it was about a whole new approach to painting. Artists were experimenting with how light affected color, how shadows weren't just black or gray, but vibrant with color. They painted en plein air, which means outdoors, rather than in a studio, to capture natural light and the moment as it unfolded.
Right? And this was a big departure from the traditional techniques. Instead of blending colors together on the palette, they would leave strokes of color next to each other on the canvas, allowing the viewer's eye to blend them from a distance. The technique is called optical mixing, and it's one of the things that make Impressionism so unique.
So to wrap up, Impressionism was a bold movement that changed the course of art history. It emerged in a time of social, political, and technological change, and the artists behind it like Monet, Renoir, Degas, and Pissarro wanted to show us the world as they saw it, dynamic, fleeting, and full of life.
And even though they were initially criticized for their unfinished style, today their works are some of the most beloved in art history. They not only redefined what art could be, but also how we experience the world around us.
Absolutely. Impressionism will always be a reminder that sometimes it's not about capturing the perfect, static image. It's about the fleeting, vibrant moments that make up our lives.
Well, that's all for today's video on Impressionism. We hope you've enjoyed learning about this groundbreaking movement and the artists who changed the art world forever.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more art insights. See you next time!
Bye everyone!